In the previous video I just did, I showed the reason that you find a lot of whirligigs with the bird propellers like this that spin in the same direction. It's kind of tradition. It's more visually pleasing and trickier to get them to spin opposite. I showed the method that I use on the table saw where I have to cut these hubs with opposite angles. Let's say you're going to make 10, you'll have to cut 5 of these oriented this way, and then you have to take this whole mess out, and turn the miter gauge to the opposite angle, unbolt your whole setup, and turn it around, and cut the angle on the other side. It takes a lot of time. Even if you're just going to make one, you have to set it up this way first, cut the one hub at this angle, or put it on the other side, yada yada yada. So, I got a comment in the comments, wouldn't it be quicker and simpler to cut all the slots on one side of the blade? Now I believe if you cut them all on the same side, they're all going to be at the exact same angle, and your wings are going to spin the same way. But this viewer says, Patricia says, wouldn't it be quicker and simpler to cut all your slots on one side of the blade and then just give half of the blocks, so assume you're doing 10, so you do 5 one way and then 5 the other. You'd have to do 5 on one side of the blade and 5 on the other. Do all of your slots on one side and then give the blocks he's talking about, these blocks, give them a half a turn, a quarter turn, when you put them in the jig to drill the hole. You could do away with the current setup on your miter and possibly make something way easier to use. Okay, well, I like that idea. I really like that idea of making something way easier to use. Because, it is a little awkward. You have to knock it all down, even if you're just going to make one whirligig. You got to knock this all down, reset it up, get it all centered again. It'd be great if you could just make them all, making 10 whirligigs, zip, zip, zip them right off. Here's the problem with that. The problem is I'm using this hole in the center to hold the hub. Let's get a blank hub. I cut out some blanks here to show you this. Here's a blank hub. No hole. Okay, how am I going to hold this? Well, I thought, well, that blows this, right? Because if no hole, well, first of all, you drill the hole and do all your cuts on one side of the table saw blade. Then you turn it a quarter of a turn. You're gonna have 2 holes in there. I mean, although maybe it would work. I'm gonna try it. I've got a couple of blades, old blades I had. I've got 2 hubs on the same side of the table saw blade at the same angle. So these, if you would hook these up right now, if you'd glue the blades in, they turn it the same direction. We go over to the drill press and drill this one, and then put the blades on it and see what it looks like. I think it'll look funny, but we'll try it, see what it looks like. The previous video that I did, it was a mistake to cut them the same way, same side of the table saw blade. It looks like this. They all look alike, and then the blades are going to spin in exactly the same direction, no matter how. Even if you turn it around, it's still going to turn in the same direction. Then just give half of the blocks a quarter turn. So this would be one of the blocks. Give it a quarter turn when you put them in the jig to drill the hole. Well, I mean, the first problem with that is I drill the hole before I cut any slots. The hole is what I use to hold the hub against the miter gauge. So that's, okay, that's a problem. Let's just try it. Well, maybe it'll work, because maybe there's another way to hold the hub to the miter gauge without drilling a hole in it. So if that works, that'd be great. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn the block, I think this is what she refers to as the block, a quarter turn, 1/4 turn, and put it in here. All right, I've got the drill press set up here, and let's just see what this does, what it looks like. So now, you know, half the blades, half the hubs are going to have 2 holes. So what, right? So what? You could plug them or just leave them. Let's see how that looks. So now I'm going to turn and put it with the 90-degree hole, the other hole, and see how that looks. Well, you've got the V, although now they're not the same. You know, does that matter? I mean, there's no law that says you can't have blades at a different angle on the same whirligig, right? So what? I have some blades cut, old blades that I didn't use, the wings, and put them in here and see what happens. So here's some wings that I cut out. I mean, some of these are warped, and you know, but they will do fine for this experiment. The one with 1 hole in it first, because this would be half of these would have 1 hole in them. So that's the one. That's just the regular one with 1 hole, like you would get from cutting it here. This is the one that was still cut on the same side, but I rotated it. There we go. So let's see what they look like. All right, so actually that would work. Those are going to turn in opposite directions. The angles on the blade are different. But out there in the yard, and you have this up on a pole, and you have, who's going to know that those angles are, who's going to know? They might turn at different speeds a little bit, but you know, that's a pretty good idea. And you know, other than having 2 holes in it, which you might want to plug that hole, but then that's extra work, right? And the whole idea of this is to save time and work. But it is a viable option. So we have the original blade with the 35-degree is turning, and the blade made on the same side with the hole drilled at 90 degrees is not turning. Now that's, you know, not a very good indicator. I mean, the breeze is really light. Now, on the other hand, the turtle's done the conventional way. Both his wings are spinning at about the same rate. It's very, very light breeze.